And as we told you earlier, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will travel today to New York to attend the UN General Assembly. CTV's Joy Malbon is live in New York with the latest on what's going on there. Joy, good to see you. So this is the 78th session, and the world leaders have gathered there. We heard from U.S. President Joe Biden make his speech. What stood out to you about what he had to say?
Well, basically, Joe Biden called out Russia today as the aggressor in the war against Ukraine. He saved the best for last, in a sense. He talked about cooperation, partnership, and his main message to world leaders is, if Russia can do this to Ukraine, it could happen to any nation. And you know, there's a sense here at the United Nations that, Secretary General Guterres said it best, the world is in a global mess right now, the poison of war, and yet we are no closer to any kind of peace talks, any kind of end to the Ukraine war. Now, President Zelensky is also here, and he will address the United Nations for the first time in person. And he will make the case in person that more needs to be done, that Ukraine is defending its right to exist. And this is at a time when world leaders are getting tired. There's a lot of fatigue, especially in the United States, of continuing this commitment to Ukraine, spending billions of dollars in aid and artillery so that Ukraine can keep up the fight. Certainly, House Republicans are saying, we don't want to write a blank check anymore. And so Joe Biden's job today is to boost support for Ukraine, to ask world leaders to continue to support the country. And Zelensky's job is to kind of seal the deal.
Yeah, most certainly. There's so many things to juggle, you know, with the war as a backdrop. We know that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is on his way to New York. Do we know more of what's on his agenda in the coming day?
Well, certainly the other big fight here at the United Nations is the climate disasters that the world has seen. The hottest summer on record, possibly the hottest year on record. We've seen extraordinary floods, hurricanes, those extraordinary wildfires in Canada and in the United States. And Joe Biden said that this is an existential threat to the world, to our planet. And although many countries have made commitments and promises on fossil fuels and making sure that we do everything we can to bring down the temperatures to 1.5 Celsius, these are promises that haven't been kept. So that is something that the Prime Minister will address, certainly climate change. He will talk about wildfires. He may even thank many world leaders who helped pitch in to put out some of those wildfires in Canada. And of course, the other big thing here is developing nations. Again, promises made and promises not kept. And nations like Africa are saying, hey, what about us now? When is it our turn? And it also comes at a time when many people are questioning the relevance of the United Nations. Used to be that world leaders would come together and solve these big problems, and yet there are a multitude of problems, from war to climate change, that world leaders need to address.
Yeah, climate activist Greta Thunberg was famous, you know, for saying that world leaders gather at these events and all it is talk, talk, talk. So we'll see what comes out of this. CTV's Joy Malbon live for us in New York. Thank you so much.